Guys, welcome to the first episode or second episode of Sets and Reps. I'm your host, Kelvin J. I'm here with
Nico Abaya.
what's up, guys. This is super exciting to do this, and I'm glad to have you on the show.
Man, I've been stoked to come on this. I've been waiting like months.
Hell yeah, it's been a while to set up, but scheduling, everyone's flip flopping. But before we start, I just want to give a few shout outs to our sponsors. First and foremost, Mateo Sports Nutrition.
Yes, sir.
You know how it does it. Your go-to shop for protein, pre-workout, whatever you need to just keep on progressing in the gym or just overall lifestyle. Okay. Also, Avocado Toast here in San Mateo. It's been my go-to for the past couple of weeks now. I always stop in there before I start work.
Okay.
They have really good salads. Yeah, I guess salads. Salads, crunch wrap, breakfast wraps, anything for breakfast food. It's owned by a lovely couple named Emil and Evanya. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. I apologize. But they take care of me, and hopefully they'll take care of everyone, you guys too. So stop by. Link will be in the description in the video. So if you guys have time, stop by in the morning, get some breakfast. I promise you it's really good. So, man, you've been busy the past couple of months, like traveling and all this. Like, can you tell us something about that? Like, your experience? Because that was crazy, dude.
Yeah, I put a lot to stories. It was a birthday trip. I turned 32.
Happy birthday, man.
Thank you. I went to, started off in Dubai. It was a 15-hour flight over there. Stayed in the Shangri-La, right? Kind of like unobstructed view of the Burj. So it was great. Like corner window, we just chilling. The trip itself was planned around South African safari in a place called Sabi Sands. So we were like, all right, we want to get there, but figure out how to get like acclimated to the time zone. So we're like, all right, let's stop in Dubai, and that was like a layover. Spent some time there, and then once we got to the safari, it was dope, bro. Like just being that close to the animals, and it was I don't know, it was surprising. Like I'm really big on trying to see new places. I have this long bucket list of places to visit, like I want to see, But I feel like I could see myself going back there multiple times and not feeling like I'm like wasting a trip or wasting time out. Yeah, I met a couple out there that said they come twice a year. They've been coming twice a year for 25 years.
Wow.
And it's like, the animals aren't going to change, right? It's kind of the same animals, but like it's very peaceful. It's like it's cool being that deep in nature, I think. And then flew 10 hours up from there to Egypt. Stayed in Cairo, saw another city down by the Nile, but that's been on my bucket list for such a long time too. And we got to stay like right in front of the pyramids.
That's hella dope.
Like out the window, it's just massive. Boom. So it was a dream trip, man. It was definitely a way I wanted to spend my birthday.
Nice.
For sure.
Yeah, because I seen when you're in the safari in the the Jeep, the open Jeep. I'm just like, you guys were like what, 20 feet away from a lion?
No, like 2 feet. Like I could have touched. You could touch the animals, but they said the lounge there, the lodge, sorry, has been there for so long that the animals that are there currently have grown up with seeing the trucks, and their parents, same thing. So they're like desensitized to the trucks.
They're used to it.
Yeah, if you were to get up out of it, then they'll be like, oh, what the hell is that? And maybe you're not safe, but they said as long as you don't get up out of the truck, you're solid. So yeah, it wasn't too scary. Like I think people were like, damn, weren't you worried? Like a leopard crawling past you, and it's like,
yeah,
they seem chill, man. They were busy tearing up their own stuff, like hunting for things that are gonna feed them. They weren't worried about us.
But I was gonna say, I would look like a refeed to one of those ones.
I know.
Like a cheat meal, actually.
Free whole ass meal. Tied them over.
Exactly. So yeah, I brought you into the podcast because I know you're one of the top coaches here in the Bay Area.
Man, I respect that. I appreciate that.
Hey, if you guys need help, reach out to this guy. He knows this shit. But yeah, I've kind of looked up to you when I first started my coaching and kind of just like experienced or like saw your growth over time. I'm just like, man, that's kind of dope. Like seeing your athletes on stage, seeing all these transformations, and I was just like, man, how can I be up there one day?
Yeah.
So kind of like lead me to my first question.
For sure.
When did you or how did you know that you would be a coach in the fitness industry or bodybuilding?
It wasn't the plan. Right? It was not the plan. I was in college, SF State, studying business. I was boxing at the time, and then I met Jason from here at San Mateo Sports Nutrition, and he invited me to the shop to just try stuff, and I got hooked into bodybuilding. And once I committed to my first show, like a couple months after just coming here all the time as a customer, they hired me. They're like, watch the store, right? Like they didn't even give me an interview process. They're like, I'll be back. I think he went to get a haircut. He's like, I'll be back. Just watch the store for a couple hours. And I did that. Yeah, so I watched the store, do some stuff. And then like 3 months later, I'm like, I quit my other job at a small gym, and yeah, I think I didn't really think I'd be a coach, but people this was when Instagram was so new. People would actually be like, whoa, what are you doing? How did you do that, right? And it was very different. Like Instagram wasn't like people weren't selling stuff all the time, and there wasn't. My bio wasn't I help millennials lose 20, 15 pounds. Like, you know what I mean? It wasn't like that yet. So it was very natural. It's like community based. So random people would hit me up and I'd help them. And then, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 months into working here, Jason and Tree were like, you should start coaching. And I was like, okay, I can do that, and just having a steady flow of people in here. And then like every now and then I'd get clients from online. It started to kind of pick up a little bit, right? Nothing crazy, right? So nothing wild. And then when I had a talk with the district manager here, his name is Ian Powers. He's not with us anymore here, but super dope guy. He told me about a guy in Stockton that was doing like $100,000 a year selling meal plans. I was like, wait, what? Is that even, like it was hard for me to conceptualize. One, just I was in college, and at that time, dude, I graduated in like 15. So it was
what did you major in first of all?
Business.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was a business major, and I was like, okay, if I graduate as a business major, get into corporate, I could probably make like 60 to 80K starting, right? And then when I heard that number, I was like, okay, that's kind of hard to believe. And then at the time, prices for coaching, people used to charge a lot less. So I was like, what's this? Like, that's just a lot of volume, right? But my initial thought wasn't like, I wasn't intimidated at all. I was like, oh, well, if it's being done, it's got to be possible. And I think that at the root of all things, that's gotten me to where I was, at least in some shape or form, like that type of mentality, kind of like how you said, like, it's, whoa, he's doing it, I wonder how is he doing it, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, and then I figured, let me try that. And then I think we went a few months without talking to each other, and then within a year I was like, I think I did it. I think I hit 100K. And it was just, I think I was had one semester left in school, or one year left in school, and I was like, should I just drop out or should I finish? Mm-hmm. And then at that point I was like, okay, I made like 100. Let me just figure out how to keep this going.
Yeah, keep the momentum rolling.
Yeah. So I never had to get a real job, so to speak. I just graduated, and then I just went right into just kept coaching. Yeah.
Nice. So like, tell us more about like G8 Fitness and how it came to be, like the name. Mm-hmm. Like, how'd you come up with it, and just like how you kept on growing from there?
It's like a weird name, right? Like, I don't think it doesn't resonate with people, but
is there like an acronym for that?
It's not. Okay. Some people read it as Great Fitness, and like, I'll take that.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, but it's just G8, like a letter and a number. It actually represents the room number at my high school.
Oh, wow!
It's like the weight room, like where we improved ourselves as a kid. I was like 90 pounds in high school, and then I put on like 30 pounds. It was like 120, 130. So I learned at an early age that like work equals results, right? So I think that kind of held a special place in my heart. And then another thing we learned in school at that time was about something called the G8 Summit. Not around anymore, but I think it's called the G22 or something now. But before, the 8 biggest nations would come together once a year at like a summit and tackle world problems.
I heard about that before. Yeah. Now that you mentioned
so now it's still there, and
it's like 100 problems now.
Yeah, right. But it's the biggest problems, and I think what that meant to me was, if you have, I don't want to quote Spider-Man, but it's kind of like with great power comes great responsibility, right? So I think me having the knowledge to change people's lives, I put it upon myself to make sure I was able to do that. So that's what G8 Fitness means to me. So it doesn't really matter whether or not someone knows of it, like what it means to them, because that's what it means to me, and that's what's kept it pushing forward.
Nice. So it kind of leads me to my next question: how or what defines a coach? How do you differentiate a coach and a trainer? Because there's two different things.
Oh yeah.
Sorry guys, but those are two different things. Okay?
Totally. I think for our purposes, in at least nowadays, it's just easy to interchange the two.
It is, yeah.
Because
there's not really a solid line anymore.
No, but I think just from like a function standpoint, a coach, at least in fitness, isn't. Main difference is they're not in the gym with you, right? they're not counting your reps for you. So and then on the other side, a personal trainer, isn't really supposed to be writing up nutrition plans, people. So that's two different things. But when someone says, "Hey, this is Nico, he's my trainer or coach," I'm not gonna stop them and be like, I'm only a coach. Like a trainer works too, because in ways,
we're doing both at the same
we're
time.
training you, for life, I guess you could say. But yeah, I think that's the biggest difference. And I don't know, I'm sure you do it too, but like as a coach, there was a point where I was also doing personal training. So you are kind of doing both in all things, right? And then you add in what feels like therapist at sometimes, right? Most of the time when you're talking to a client.
We're straight life coaches.
I know. I realized that too after. I was like, I think we're kind of like life coaches that know a little bit about macros and workouts.
And a little bit of like, healing,
I think that's been the biggest eye opener for me over the years. It's like people care less about what you know and more about how much you care.
That's true. I learned that over the years too. Yeah. Need that guidance. They need that kind of like that nurture.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's how I see anyone that comes into my door. Even if they're experienced, whatever the case is, there's a reason why they're reaching out to you.
Right.
Because they need the extra push, the extra motivation, just the extra like accountability.
Okay.
In a way, you know what I mean?
Right.
So I definitely get where you're coming from, because obviously I'm not that deep into this coaching yet. Like I've only been doing it for like 3 years.
That's long.
Yeah, it's long. Don't get me wrong.
One of my clients, Marquise Murphy, he's a real estate agent. I remember I was about like 3 years in, and I felt like really new, and kind of I was asking him like, so as a real estate agent, like, do you get worried that you're not going to get like a sale, right, like a house, or like how do you live with that, right? Because we're kind of on the same thing. If we don't get a client, we don't get paid. And he was like, how long have you been doing this? He was like, if you've been doing it longer than 2 years, like you're kind
good,
of, bro. Yeah. You're fine.
You're kind of grounded now.
I was like, okay, cool. We're in it then. So you're in the thick of it, man. 3 years in is I think for me at least, when I felt like it really took off.
For me, it's like lifestyle. I've been doing it for 5 years now.
Okay.
But in terms of like competitive, 3 years.
Okay. And what do you focus on more?
Dude, that's the one thing I'm trying to figure out, because the macro side easy, the lifestyle's easy, the transformation's easy. Not easy, but
it's easier. It requires a little bit less work. Kind of.
Yeah. But for me, I think since like, what happened to me, like the whole physical thing that happened, and for me, I think I switched kind of gears.
Okay.
In terms of like, I'm taking on more of a role of a true coach in terms of bodybuilding.
Okay.
Just because, the things that I went through with the conditions, the health wise, I never want that to happen to any of my athletes or any athletes in general.
Right.
So for me, proper training, proper protocols, proper health science, everything. So I think for me, like my niche now is that true progress without probably just negating any injuries.
Minimal,
you know what I mean? Yeah. So, but I love just being in the gym.
Okay.
I am tired, exhausted, don't get me wrong.
Right.
But just pushing my athletes or clients to their limits and just seeing their progress, it makes me feel good, because then like I live my bodybuilding through them now.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It's not that I'm not working out anymore, because I still am, but it's just like seeing them on stage or just seeing them progress. It's kind of like, you know what I mean?
I know that.
Because you competed before.
We did both. Yeah, it's kind of both, I think. But I think where it sounds like we differed a little bit was I kept my prep athletes in there because I love the sport, but as a from a business standpoint, it's most of my focus is on lifestyle. Yeah. So it's kind of a weird thing, right? I think
you're kind of like in between still. You know
right,
what I mean?
Right. I'm like
still there.
90-20. I try and be, for the lack of a better word, relevant in the like NPC in that circuit,
side.
At least locally. Yeah. But it's not the goal anymore. It's like if it happens, it happens. But it's draining to try and do both.
Dude, oh my God,
it's draining.
At one point, like I was tackling on like 40 clients and then X amount of athletes. Yeah, I'm just like, this is a lot. It's hard, because then I'll so what I kind of did now is in the morning, like from let's say 6 to 12, I'll train athletes.
Right.
Because that mindset's like
they're gonna be in there.
Yeah, and then after 12,
have a different schedule.
And then after 12 is when I train like general public.
Okay.
Because it's obviously from that the switch is not like. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
It's kind of
I like that. I still struggle with it now, but since I do have prep and non-prep clients, like it's almost like depending on who you're talking to, you have to change the hat a little bit, right? Change up your demeanor, your tone, and
it's exhausting.
It's exhausting, to go back and forth. So at least you have it kind of blocked off. It sounds efficient. Yeah. I did that for a while too. I had athletes that I would prep, lifestyle clients that I would coach, and then both that I would also PT. and it was a lot. It's draining. So now I was thinking about my schedule now. I'm like, dude, I really just work once a week, really. And I'm like, I'll text people throughout the week and do stuff, but it's just a lot less like in the grind, in the thick of things.
Yeah.
But that part's required, man. You gotta see what you like, see what really actually brings you joy, and then from terms of business, what's smartest in terms of ROI and financially, and then go from there. But yeah,
nice. So I kind of want to, the purpose of this podcast, bringing on coaches too, is kind of just to help shed some light into some of the coaches out there, kind of like trainers that are still trying to figure out their niche, their why, and figuring out their path. So this question is going to start leading into how we can help them. You know what I mean? So what would you say would be the biggest challenge you've had or faced or learned as a coach, and how did you overcome it?
That's a good question. There's so many.
Let's do three.
Let's do a few. Let's come what comes to mind.
Like your surface level, and then if you want to dive into deeper ones, Let's say starting off, like let's say we're in the rock bottom. We're on chapter 1 of our coaching.
Right, we're early in it.
Yeah. What would you say would be the biggest challenge you faced, and how did you overcome that?
I think what it was for me, I struggled with. I think at the root of it, the problem was like I thought everyone was like me. And what I mean by that in terms of clients and peers was, like you said, when you saw what I was doing, it was inspiring. And I didn't understand why not everyone was happy for me. Like other trainers, other coaches, people around here. And it like, I had this, I longed to be liked, right? Like growing up, I didn't have many friends. So like I wanted people to like me. And then it sucked that I felt like when I saw some little form of success, that it came with hate. Envy, yeah. So whatever it might have been, it's obviously just like, it's more on them than it was on me. But I struggled with it because it was hard to be like, wow, like these people don't like me. And then it became me working from a place of pettiness almost. It was like a fuck you type of energy, which I'm big on what's called fuck you fuel. Like, we're going to show the haters. Like that is a okay place to work out of sometimes. But long term, if you're not working from a place of love, it's going to show up in other places, in everywhere in your life. So I feel like that's what I struggled with early. And like I was driving over here, I'm like, damn, I really, like one example, I used to love, like, how in Instagram stories you could see like who watches your stuff, right? I used to love scrolling down and I just see this like batch of people that like I know don't follow me, but they're always watching my stuff, and I used to I get a kick out of that. I'm like, yeah, you could check up on me. Trust me, I'm doing good, And I'm like, damn, I can't remember the last time it might be like 2 or 3 years since I even checked anything other than like the number, like how many's seeing it. Yeah. So that's how I kind of feel good about like, okay, we're healed now. But can I say that like I would have gotten to where I was without relying on that? Motivation, maybe. So I think it's important to just find not your why, but also be aware of like what's driving you and what type of fuel you're running off of. Because if you spend too many years in that energy, you're not gonna end up in a good place. And then kind of along the same lines, not everyone's like you. All clients are different, and not everyone's going to want to prep. Not everyone's going to want to be able to stick with it. So really being flexible in like the how everything is done is important. Again, in terms of like just this last week, like I'm big on like 99% of my clients do macros, right? And then I had a new client said, "Can you just give me a meal plan?" And I gave her the spiel why it's not important. I'm not going to explain why right now, but like I know why it is, right? Lots of pushback, and I was like, what? I'll do that. I can do that. But, for you, we'll do that. We'll start it off and make it easy for you, and then go from there, right? So it's being able to meet people halfway or more than halfway sometimes in order to get them going, and then you could lead them. Coaching isn't about how much you know, right? It's it makes me think of this quote, like you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink it. But I think coaching is figuring out how to get the horse to drink the water, right? Like you got to get them there, and you got to be like, okay, how are you going to do this?
Like a structure.
Beyond that, it really is like the why, and I think that's why it's really important to at least be more aware of just like human psychology and psyche and the deeper whys between things, because there's always a reason that people are in there,
The good thing, it's kind of interesting you brought that aspect of, because definitely for like, quote unquote bigger individuals, you can give them macros, you can give them meal plans, but to actually understand how they're feeling and how they're. It's hard,
Yeah,
man.
it's
You know
tough.
what I mean?
It's tough.
Like unless you've either experienced it or experienced enough like clients doing that. Like a lot of people would just be like newer coaches, right?
Right.
Let's say for example.
Newer ones that compete that maybe they're so far removed from being fat they don't remember what that feels like. So
Or
it's
they
just
never
really easy
they
to
never
just-
were
or that
big,
yeah.
you know. They're like, no,
Yeah.
you can do it, man. Like this is easy. I'm like, no, it's not, man.
Right.
I think that's the biggest misconception that I see a lot of coaches kind of fail in, is that they don't put themselves in their shoes.
This is lack of empathy. But that I think that's a societal problem. You know, that's not just in coaches, but it's big here. It's big here because it's really. I mean, I think in most places, just like toxic positive, at least in fitness, team no days off, get up no matter how you feel,
No
show
excuses,
up, like that type of thing. So I think also part of the coaching journey was transitioning from that into, coaching from a place of with more grace and gentleness and like a more loving approach. I used to think that I had to decide whether or not I thought someone needed tough love or nurturing. And I'd have to like figure out, based off their mood or whatever. But now I'm just it's always got to come from a place of love. Because as a client, that's in the thick of it. Like I think most of the time, this goes with a lot of things. But I think in our realm, people that come with us, the big reason is like they think that looking a certain way or feeling a certain way is going to lead to them loving themselves or being worthy of love or one of those two things. And, if they're in that headspace, they're going to be their own toughest critic. So badgering them on top of that usually isn't going to bring them to a good place.
Yeah, you're pushing them too much where they can't physically do it. They need a little bit more time to adapt and adjust to it. You know what I mean?
So, yeah, those are some things that I think I struggled with early in coaching.
What about, so let's say, for example, like your early stages of coaching, let's say, someone who's relatively skinny trying to get muscle, that's honestly easy. You know what I mean? But what about the weight loss aspect? Like, how did you divert into expanding your knowledge? Like, how, obviously you go through trial and errors as a coach. Like, there's no perfect coach out there. I'm sorry, guys. Like, we've made our mistakes. Like, I've owned up to mine too. There's some times where like it's just stubborn weight doesn't go down.
Right.
You have to go through either carb cycles, carb up,
Right.
change cardio. But was there any time during your, let's say, early stages of being a coach that you were just like, fuck, like I don't know how to do this now? Like, was there a time in place?
That's really early in it. I think it does help to just think, 99% of the time, if they just follow what they're supposed to, it'll figure itself out, right? Like most people aren't so unlucky that their metabolism just absolutely does not work, or their body doesn't, follow the guidelines of science, and it just doesn't work, right? Yeah. So I think and that's okay, right? If you're unable to get to the root of the problem, and you're convinced that like, hey, this person, I can't help this person, then being okay with that and knowing that you're not a bad coach because you couldn't help a single person. I think I used to be very all or nothing too. Like I'd really dive into it. I'm trying to think of one example. This one dude swore that he would go to sleep, weigh himself, wake up heavier. So I'm like, okay, dude, what the, like you
without
can't
eating anything, right?
Without eating anything. I'm like, we're a closed system, It just doesn't make sense. So I think back to that, and I'm like, okay, if I really held on to that was probably when I was working with first 100 clients, and I was just so baffled because like, there's no way, right? And it's less about. In hindsight, I wish I would have just, figured out a way to get him to maybe open up more about being open and honest to what's actually going on with the eating, what's not being tracked, looking at the adherence, rather than focusing on that excuse, because that's just an excuse at the end of the day, right? That's almost like a facade. Like he just wants to focus on that, and it's not the issue.
It's not.
The issue is it doesn't even matter if you're waking up heavy, even if you were. That's not the problem. What's happening the other hours of the day when you're awake?
Yeah.
What can we control? But yeah, even when it comes down to client feedback, right? Like I do Yelp, so I'm like one of the few coaches that uses.
I just started
Yelp.
Yelp my Yelp page,
and it's hard because you're just like you're out there now, right? So
Dude.
Most online fitness coaches, even some successful ones, they have no place to get feedback publicly, so you can get bashed, trashed, whatever you want, right? Like just badly.
Dude,
So
it's
of
insane.
mine, it was I think I might have started mine in like 17, maybe 16, 20. I forget.
Oh, it's been a while.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
And yeah, I had like 5-star reviews for like 3 years, and then I got my first bad one, and it threw me off for like months, dude. I was literally in like a worse headspace. I couldn't shake it. I was like, okay, this one person is saying I'm like not good at what I do, and it was almost like, I guess, you know how you're like, oh, when you can't help somebody, and like, are you worried about like, can I do this? Mm-hmm. Mine was like, I'm a bad coach. Like, am I not good at what I do? Is like a weird type of, the only time like imposter syndrome actually came up was like, I'm like, damn, it's like everyone else is blowing smoke, and is this what's actually true? So it took a lot, and it was, I think, you know, after a few months just looking back at that review, it was a little bit easier for me to, you know, separate from that. Like, one bad review doesn't make me a bad person, and whatever she went through, it was probably, you know, more of a reflection of what she thought was true. But I know what I did on my part as true as well. And would I change some things? I wouldn't have changed the way I did anything with that. So, you know, coming to peace with not being able to please everyone is different. So,
because we're not perfect.
No, God, no. So, but it was nice to have like 100. And dude, I was deep. I was like 130, 140, 5-star, you know, all glowing, all talking about how much they love me and how great I am. And then one's like, oh, he's a piece of shit. He's mean. And it was, yeah. And then like 2 months later, right, like 3 months in, I was like, okay, I'm good. I'm over it. Like, I do therapy weekly, and I like wasted like 5-6 sessions on this specific review. And then I get another bad one.
Oh, no.
He's a piece of shit. He's a liar. He did this. I feel worse than I started. I'm like, wow, again. And then that time frame between where I, you know, felt more like myself and was having those questions of whether or not I was. You know, the problem, I think, was I can't, like, I had a hard time differentiating, like, being like attacked as a coach and attacked as a person. Like, I felt like the reviews are like, when I get bad feedback, I'm like, I'm a bad coach, I'm a piece of shit human. And it's really hard for me to be like, okay, like, I can do both. You know, I could be a good person, but just not necessarily the best at my job, or you know, not be able to provide that, what they needed at that time. So, yeah, and then the 3 months turned into like 2 weeks, and then I got another bad one like a month later. I'm like, damn, I'm on a string of, but it's just really what I felt like that was the universe was just testing me to see if I had learned the lesson, you know? So I got like a third one, and I was like, okay, cool, yeah, this is, has nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
We're back to it. I'll like message a few other clients, make sure they're doing what they need to be doing, and I'm showing up how I need to show up, and just move on. Damn. Yeah, so good luck with that.
No, I'm not gonna lie to you. I haven't experienced that just yet, and I'm getting clients left and right now.
Everyone's gonna be happy,
you know. But that also because I have assistant coaches now.
Yeah, oh, that too. Yeah, my first either 3 or 2-star was from an assistant coach.
That's the one thing I want to talk to you about too. Assistant coaches.
No big deal. Yeah.
Like, what certain criteria or what certain trust do you have to develop for someone to be like a coach for you? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because remember, this was like 4 years ago. You said like, oh, you're hiring coaches, and I was like, you know what? Let me see if I could. You started talking.
Yeah.
You were shocked that I even asked you because I was already a coach.
Right. Well, no, I mean that's what you would need to be, right? You
Yeah.
need to be an established coach, I think, in order to be able to handle like the client load that I was ready to dish out.
Mm-hmm.
I think the trust had to come not more in you, in you, but I had to like trust myself, or trust that I'm not the best at what I do. You know, there are people better than me, and it's my job, if I want to find an assistant coach, they have to be better than me, right?
Up to par.
And that's okay, because I'm not gonna find another me, right? And I think that's where you're gonna struggle. So initially I looked for people that had traits that I didn't have, that seemed like their active clients. There was some draw about them that I felt like I lacked. So the first 2 definitely had that, and then you know, for me, I liked having people that I work with directly, so they know what I kind of expect. I guess like there are other ways to do that, but I think for me, I've had 10 coaches in the past, and I think that me as a coach at any point throughout my coaching career, it evolved and progressed and changed because of my experiences with each coach, right? Like, I'm not saying I learned something like knowledge based from each coach, but I took from each experience something that I could improve on. And usually it's like, it was the little moments where I felt like, I don't like that. I don't feel good as a client when I get this or when they do that. So it's very much like, okay, this is not what I want to do, and now my current program is built off that.
So next question. How do you deal with being under pressure, whether that's competition prep or the amount of clients that you have? So let's say, for example, you have a bunch of competition prep people, athletes, and then you have lifestyle clients, athletes. How do you balance those two? Let's say, for example, you're at the show. Like, is there like a certain kind of like structure that you put on, like, hey, like I'll be at the show? How do you
I try and be at every show. That if a client's doing it, I'm like, I want to be there physically. And if I can't, I think of all the shows I've done, I might have had two that I didn't get to, maybe three, but it just didn't work for my schedule, and they were okay with being on their own. But then, since only 10% of my clients are competitors, I always had like a big lifestyle roster on at that same time. Thinking back to SF of maybe 2018 or 2019, I had like 30 competitors competing.
Jesus.
Maybe high 20s, but it was something close to that number. And then at that time, my lifestyle roster was like 100 plus. So like, I think you don't really need the pressure there. You don't need to put pressure on yourself, or at least I didn't, because they're all clients. They all need that attention. And, for competitors, they know you need to give them a little bit more, and that's fine. And then I think asking for space from the other clients, like saying, hey, check-ins are going to be a little bit late. Or, the other thing that I'll do is like during a show, like since you're sitting around a lot, like I'll answer client check-ins on a Saturday in between prejudging finals while waiting for the girls to get their makeup done. So I think it's just
finding the time,
making the time, and being okay with telling people, hey, like this is going to be late, and that's fine, right? But the pressure is really, there is no pressure. It's not. It's
you
not.
Get used
it's
to
stress.
it.
It's work stress, right?
Yeah.
It's deadlines, it's meeting deadlines. It's following through with what you got to do, and getting it done. That's what it felt like actually for me. So yeah, I can't think of a time where I was like, oh my God, this is too much.
Probably in the beginning.
I've always done it progressively too. Like as far as the number that I heard from my district manager, he was like 20-25 clients is like as much as you should have. And then I got to that point, I was like, I think I could do more. Then went to like 50, and then I was like, ooh, I want to do more, 80, and then 100, 120, 150, 180, 200, 250s. And then it was always just like, okay, I figure out ways to make things more efficient, optimize check-ins, make things faster, improve the onboarding process, so making sure that everyone knows exactly what they need to do, get rid of the FAQs, and you're just like, you're saving time on each client, like the amount of time it takes to deliver. So that helped over time, again, going into it at that speed, not like going right to 200, or because of course 200 is going to sound overwhelming if you haven't done 150, but it's kind of like weights, right? Like
Repetition.
If you do 225, you're like, I can do 230, right? It's the same thing. It's like that. Getting those reps in will make you feel comfortable being able to do a little bit more, and or working on your form or your process, making things more efficient, and it just feels like it's all the same.
Nice. So next question. What do you see in today's generation is one of the biggest struggles of becoming a successful coach? So we're talking about just, not our time, but now. Let's say, for example, now. What do you think would be the biggest obstacle?
I think the biggest struggle might still be it's comparison, right? Comparison is the thief of joy, they say. And I think it's going to be really easy for, especially now that there's way more coaches in the space, to find, a person doing better than them. And you get away from the mindset that you're in and think like, damn, why am I not there yet? Even if they're like, I can get there, focusing on like, how come they're not there? It just comparing where you are, right? Like at any point you could be having an amazing day and you see someone with a little bit more, and then all of a sudden you just got brought back down, right? So trying to get out of that mindset, or even looking at other things. I don't follow really any other coaches. I used to have to kind of compare myself to other coaches and be like, okay, this person's doing this person's doing that. But then you get stuck, right? I think like once I really started to scale my business halfway through or whatever, I didn't care what any other coach was doing. I was like, I'm setting my sights on doing $1 million a year, and I don't know any other coaches doing that. So I'm going to have to be, there's no one else to look at. Right. And I think one one thing that kind of I would think before too is like, in order to be a front runner, you have to be okay with having a target on your back.
Oh yeah.
Right. So early in it, I wasn't okay with having it. I wanted everyone to like me. I wanted everyone to give me respect and props and be like, "Oh, you inspired me." But that's not always going to come, right?
No.
So again, it just not also you know, not keeping your eyes on your own paper, so to speak, and looking what other people are doing. You're kind of building this box of what is real, almost,
like a checklist, right?
Almost, yeah. You're setting a cap on it, right? Like if I was looking at what Cuts was doing, and I was like, "Oh, he has this many clients," then that would be. It's like anchored in, like, oh, he has 500 clients. Like, I need to figure out how to get there. But, you know, separating from that and saying, I want this many clients because this is how much I want to do. It made it a lot easier to just go, take off.
Mm-hmm. I think the number one thing that, you know, for any coaches starting up or even like established is that people see someone's chapter 100.
Right. Oh, that's always.
They don't see how they started.
That's always it.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I'll be honest with you. That's the same with me starting. Mm-hmm. I'm just like, how can I get there fast?
Oh.
You know, I mean, let's be honest.
No,
like,
we
want
I get
to.
that.
We want
I get
to.
that. Yeah.
Like, we try to skip so many fucking steps to the point where, like, oh shit, like I can't handle this much load.
Right.
Like,
Most
I'm not used
can't.
to this.
Most people can't.
You know what I mean? Like for me, like for example, like I have X amount of general and X amount of clients, athletes that I train 1-on-1.
Right.
That's kind of like my niche. I do the 1-on-1 training.
You like to, yeah.
I just like to, even though I'm tired of shit. I like to. It's fun, you know. But it gets to that point in time where like people are like trying to book with me. I'm just like, fuck, like I'm packed. I can't take any more clients.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It gets to that point where I was just like, I gotta rotate these guys in now. Like it's not even just
for clients.
For clients, okay. Yeah, like the 1-on-1 training aspect, because there's only X amount of days, hours in a day.
Right.
You know, you can't train 10. Well, you can
20 a day. Yeah.
But you're gonna be burnt out. You know what I mean?
So you're capped. So
yeah.
That's where assistant coaches come in. So how do you think that's like? How is that a problem that other people are facing? Like new coaches, how do you think that's
like an issue?
Yeah.
I think they're not prioritizing self-care.
Okay.
You know, we're so into that zone where like as a coach you want as many clients as you want.
Yeah.
You want as, you know what I mean?
Right. Fill all the hours up, give me as many clients as I can physically handle before I want to.
But then when you come home at night, you're burnt out.
Yeah.
You know, you deal with like 100 questions a day, this and that, and then once you actually have time for yourself, you only have like 30 minutes in a day, and then you got to start over.
If that,
yeah. And it's like people don't understand that being a coach is a full-time job.
Oh yeah, I hope nobody thinks that it's part-time.
No, I hope not too.
No, not to make a living. You know?
It's a 24/7 job. Like it's always on your mind.
Yeah.
So I think the biggest challenge, my opinion, is that a lot of coaches will try to take on too many without prioritizing their own happiness.
Okay.
You know, whether that's established or starting up, I think there has to be a balance no matter what. You know.
I like that. That seems more like a middle of the road problem. Like most coaches that are maybe watching this or need help or like where do I? Their problem is getting clients. It's not being overbooked, right? So being overbooked is a blessing.
It is.
Then you can always scale back, you know, figure out what your priorities are. Because, I take on less clients now, too. There was a point where I was like, I'm always taking on clients. Now I'm like, ooh, I definitely don't want to be working with 200 at a time. So, like, what do I feel good at? What feels right? What's not draining, you know? So, like, being able to do that. But there is a point in there where you're going to have to be overworked in order to be able to say, I want to do less or I'm okay with less.
Yeah, it gets to that point where you have to work hard or grind like hell until you get to that stage where you can be comfortable.
Yeah,
it's a business. It's a damn business. That kind of leads into my next question, which is actually pretty good. It's how do you balance coaching in your own personal life, such as relationship, family, quality time for yourself?
It's new. That's new. I used to not at all. Like it used to be on the phone all the time.
Dude, same. Social media.
All my friends were my clients. All my clients were my friends. I didn't have any friends outside of that space. When I'm working out, it's with clients. When I was on Instagram, it's talking to clients. So there was no balance between that. And it wasn't until the last year or so, the last 2 years, once I kind of
took a step back,
focused more on like myself. You know, mental health is huge.
Self-growth.
I really wish that I had like therapy back when I was younger, like in my 20s, because it was my schedule was basically like work as much as humanly possible, and then dissociate with the free time that I had, you know, drugs, alcohol, partying, raving, like all that shit was like how I survived. And so
we all go through that.
right. So then after that, I'm like, well, I wonder I asked myself, I'm like, what did you not want to feel, right? Like what was I not okay with sitting with when things were quiet, when I wasn't focusing on someone else's problems, when I wasn't trying to help someone else lose their 20 pounds? What was it that I didn't want to sit with? And for me, it was really fucking hard for me in that middle range before I was like, I'm a successful coach, to be happy and proud of what I did. Like I felt like I was a failure because I was so focused on trying to get to that $1 million or get my Lambo. Those things were really hard for me to, like, I couldn't be proud of the progress until then. So, kind of like how I said, clients usually come to us because they don't think they're worthy of love until they lose that weight. Mine was, I didn't think I was worthy of love. I didn't have any self-love until I thought I made it. So again, I almost had to crash and burn completely, and then, you know, go in and go sober and figure out, like, oh shit, like this is not it. This is not the way to do it. So having more balance. And now I'm all about, if anything, I'm on the side of like overly leisurely. Like I don't work as much. Like I work a fraction of what I used to work.
Nice, Nico.
It's nice. It's nice now, right? But like you have to go through that and it's and be okay with it, right? Like that part is going to happen. But I think when you're in the thick of things and you aren't okay, or you don't know how to just stop and be, that's probably where the problems might arise. Mm-hmm. You know, so
it's kind of like that saying, like Rome wasn't built in a day. You know what I mean? It's the same concept.
It is, yeah. So I think self-care now, I'm really happy that like a lot of my clients tell me, like in their check-ins, like, oh, I have a therapist, I see my therapist, I do meditation. Like I tell my clients to meditate and journal because those are things that help me, you know, on the back end of this career, that just help me have more peace and happiness. Like those things are things that I feel like are helpful, and you know, it's a nice break from do the cardio, lose the weight, be perfect, do all those things. So having balance in my life is also kind of comes through. It shows up with my clients, like trying to instill that in them as well.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
Good question.
What advice would you give yourself if you were able to talk to your younger self?
What age you want me to talk to?
Let's say like even before you got into fitness industry, or you can even do while you were starting your fitness industry.
Okay.
Yeah.
If we could do like a little.
Let's do both.
Okay. Let's say early in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's I always joke around and I tell myself, oh, buy Bitcoin. But don't do coaches, invest in beyond Ethereum. What we, I think that's tanking too. Beyond what we, you know, like, it always seems like, the question that I'm hearing is like, what do I want to tell myself to, you know, achieve success quicker? But I think what it is, I think I'd want to remind myself that, like, I don't really need to even necessarily chase success or get to it in order to be happy, fulfilled. Like, all of those things can come, and it doesn't need to come from, you know, your career. And you know, taking time to, again, love yourself along. We tell our clients that, right? Like, love yourself at every point in the journey. Yeah, but again, like in my 20s, I didn't love myself. I was like ashamed of what I did for a living because people were like, "Oh, you're a coach? Like, you're like a trainer then?" Like, yeah, you know. So like, so much of what I was doing throughout my late 20s, like grinding, trying to scale and make money, was just so I could feel like a little bit proud of myself to say what I do for a living. Even though, you know, and deep down, I felt like I'm doing good in the world. Like, it just sucks to know that, like, I'm not doing anything different now than I was when I was 21. And like, I just wish I would have given myself a little bit more credit for that, because I didn't. Again, and it stemmed into needing to use drugs and alcohol to you know, get through the weekend without feeling like, damn, let's do this all over again. So it would be a lot more focused on self-love, and just know that you're worthy of love, and tell myself that I'd be proud of myself. You know, that at some point you're going to be doing things that you're going to be freaking proud of, and just keep going. What are you struggling with? Let me just give you some advice that's a little bit more specific.
We're flipping this right now.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing for me right now is it's not the getting the clients. You know, the traffic's there.
Okay.
You know, I think the biggest thing for me is the balance.
Okay.
You know, like I said, I'm starting to handle it a little bit better now.
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times athletes or coaches or athletes and clients will be like, "Can I train with you?" I'm like, "No."
Yeah, right. Okay.
Like when I work out, that's my peace of mind.
Okay.
That's where I can detach myself from the world.
Yeah.
Put some headphones, put some pre-workout,
Right.
and just work out. That's kind of like my happy place now. That's
Right.
kind of like my void.
I lost that. So like working out isn't that for me anymore.
Well, you got boxing
at some point. Yeah. So I
You
had to
got
get
boxing,
get into that. But
Right.
like having a your own happy place is important.
Yeah.
So I think for that I would definitely tell people like beyond working out, you need another place. You need another outlet to just be present with yourself, whether it be a hobby or something. You have to do something else. That's something I did not have. But I guess a question for you is like, what does a balanced life look like to you?
For me, so for me, I set certain expectations in terms of like, all right, when it's past 5 o'clock, I'm not answering questions. Just things.
Are
like
you pretty
that.
good with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
But obviously, like for me, like I'm a very caring individual when it comes to my athletes.
Right.
For me, it's like I go far beyond. I even reach out to them sometimes.
You
Like,
got to. Yeah.
I'm like, hey, are you doing okay?
Right.
Like, I haven't heard from you in a couple of days. Like, that's just, I guess, for me, in my early stages of coaching, I just want to make sure I'm checking all the boxes, make sure I'm taking care of them.
Of course.
But to answer your question more specifically, I would say, I try to do as much as I can outside of coaching and lifting. Like riding my bicycle,
Yep.
just enjoying the time. Just, dude, there's days where I'm literally just like, after a long day, I'll just like go to the beach, listen to music, and just relax, and get some food. Just
so you can disconnect.
Yeah,
in healthy ways.
Yeah, and then it's also to that point where like I'm not dependent on people to make me happy. You know what I mean? In terms of like, I don't need to hang out with people to relax. I'm just like, I'm perfectly happy just chilling by myself and just normal shit. Listen to music, sit at the park, go bike.
Yeah.
I'll box once in a while too.
I know, I've seen that.
Then trying to pick up old hobbies that I left a long time ago.
Okay.
But yeah, just for me, I'm just trying to figure out a balance that's concrete, I guess.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to flip flop, this and that.
Right. It sounds like you can set the boundary, but you're not really sure because you're carrying.
Yeah.
So I think the one piece of advice I'd give you, because I've been in that situation too, is you gotta sometimes learn to take the coach's hat off. As coaches, we feel like we have all the answers, right? We need to have the answer to the problem. How much protein should I have? 150 grams. How much cardio should I do? 30 minutes, right? But sometimes when the client, especially if you're putting yourself in the position to where they're going to be vulnerable, all you got to do is hold space. Yeah. Like, it's not your job to fix their relationship with their husband, or it's not your job to force them to figure out how to love themselves better, or to or to find balance. It's just holding space and then being able to set it aside instead of carrying it with you. I think is going to make the next 3-4 years of your journey a lot smoother.
For sure.
'Cause I held on to everything my clients would tell me, and it would weigh down on me, and it would have an effect on my own mental health. But I was in the position like, I want to help everyone, and it wasn't until this last year where I was like, wow, I can take it, I could be there for them, and just know that's not my job.
Definitely.
To just
I kind of get what you're saying. I actually do know what you're saying, because there's certain clients that are like that with me right now.
And you want to go above and beyond, right? But I think about now, that's what I asked my therapist. I'm like, okay, how do you do it when a client tells you that, like, I was like, I literally just had a client tell me that they had a failed IVF treatment or a miscarriage. Like, what do you do with that? Like, what do you do with that? Where do you go? And how do you just go to the next client without? And it's like, dude, people just, you're also their guy, right? Like, how many people are they going to tell that to? Not a lot.
A lot of times, like, being a coach, like, you're their therapist.
Yeah, I know. So it's like, okay, sometimes I'll straight up be like, hey, you need to get therapy, or that's something that I do now, but I didn't know how to do that before.
Yeah.
So just like take the pressure off yourself,
and
you could be an amazing coach and still an amazing human, and just don't feel like it's your job to fix everything in their life, even though that you're that guy for them.
Yeah, definitely. I took that with a grain of salt, like these past couple months. I'm just like,
it's tough.
I'm doing too much.
Yeah.
Not to the point where, like, I don't want to do it, but I think it's like out of my realm, out of my comfort zone,
out of your scope of practice too. I think that's the biggest. That's what gives me peace. Thinking, okay, this is outside my scope of practice. Like, it's not my job.
Like, I think you need professional with this.
Yes,
I don't want to
exactly.
say the wrong things and
right.
the wrong.
You don't.
Advice.
You're not. I'm not qualified to talk you through that right now.
Definitely don't want to do that.
And then it's going to be really on you if you feel like you messed up.
Dude,
so
yes.
yeah. No, I've done wellness checks on clients. Like, like I had to figure out if they were still alive, type of thing. Like that's how deep it got, and that was in my. Those are like dark days of coaching when I was like really grinding. I was doing the PT also early. I was coaching as many people as I possibly could. No breaks, no therapy, no meditation, no journaling, just all grind. And that shit just weighed on me for like almost a year, like getting that. So I wish if I could go back and just, hey, dude, that's not on you. Would have made
a big difference.
Yeah. And just overall quality of life, peace, happiness, all those things would have just been easier.
Less white hairs and shit.
Seriously, now we just got to keep it pink, so they don't know what stresses me out. Very good question though, but yeah, hopefully that advice for you was helpful, because
I appreciate that, man.
That was big, and you're in that year 3 is like when you could really start taking off. You have enough, you have enough clientele to give you clientele for the next few years, and like.
And it's just gonna keep growing, because
it's gonna keep growing.
Not a lot of coaches in the Bay Area offer the one-on-one training anymore.
No, I know.
So all the pressure's on me now. I'm like,
I know that. I'm like, nah, don't do that.
I was like, shit, man. Like, I can't even. Like, let's say like competitors, like, they'll reach out to me like, can we train? I'm like, fuck.
Right. I mean, like, how many prep coaches are there really in the Bay that are
There's
like?
Not a lot.
Right.
And
5?
then if you, Shugs.
Yeah, he's kind of like more. East Bay, right? So if you go like Peninsula, even inside, it's really not many left.
Yeah.
And SF is kind of its own thing. So yeah, you got a lot of weight on your shoulders. You can't be picky and choosy, right? Yeah. So going into the next few months, knowing that you're that guy until someone else wants to step up, but you still got a leg up because you've been doing it longer than them, So
yeah,
I'm excited for you.
I am. I'm very excited, but at the same time, like I'm like a sponge.
Yeah, you gotta be.
I'll learn as much as I can. Like, dude, anyone I learn from, whether they're have a high credibility or not, I'll take it as a sponge.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited for the next couple of years for me. Like I said, just trying to find that balance, and I just can't wait.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I'm excited to watch you grow as a coach, as an individual, as a podcast host.
Hey, this is kind of like my void now. This is kind of like my peace of mind.
It is, man.
It's another work, but
it is.
I love it. It's fun, because then now we can actually help others now in a more.
I'm with that.
You know what I mean? Not just like physically and like being in there, but now they can just watch and enjoy and like learn. That's the whole point of the podcast. So.
Yeah, I like it. I love it.
Yeah. Oh.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you
for coming in, man.
Man, it's a pleasure.
Yeah. All right, guys. Tune in for the next episode of Sets and Reps. I'm your host, Kelvin J.
And I'm Nico Abaya.
Later.
Thank you.